and IoT.
Ma'am, I can see the screen, so I will just tell you when you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can just go to the screen share mode, and I will start. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm there on the screen share mode.
Okay. So let us start now, and then we can have some talking or questions after we close on this. So I think everybody know about embedded system and IoT, a brief about it. So ma'am, can you go to the next slide, index? Yeah. So
yes. Yeah, table of contents.
So the topics which we are going to cover here is mainly we are covering here IoT on the embedded system. So how IoT, Internet of Things, is useful for the, how we can enable it on the embedded system on the edge device. So basically we are going to talk about it. We will be talking about the architecture and where all IoT we apply, which all applications are there for IoT, what is IoT edge computing, and there are some of the challenges also I tried to cover, and some key development rules which are covered here. So these are the topics which we are going to talk about it. So let us start with introduction of embedded system first. So I think, so there are few basic traits, like why we say embedded system, why we don't say PC as an embedded system, because whichever system you say as embedded system, it has to have a specific function. Can you go to next slide, ma'am? I'll just, yeah. So it has to have a specific function and defined process. So when embedded system works for the defined process and a specific function. So suppose you are working for some medical system, or you are working for some security system. So that particular system is enabled or work for that specific functionality only. So that is the main important feature of the embedded system. Second important thing is it has to be real time. The performance has to be real time, and it must compute the results in real time without any delay. So latency and delay should not be there. So there should not be any delay in the performance. So that is where we say it has to be real time. So embedded system, this is the second thing important. And we have very limited resources and tightly constraints. So embedded systems are very small chips. You will see these are the small chips. Even you use your phones and other devices, lifts, everyday life, you have a lot of embedded things which you are using, or camera devices. So you will see there is a very small part which is an embedded software where you can build your software or you can have your hardware. So it has to be very low cost. It has to have the small size. It should perform efficiently in the real time. So that is some of the features of the embedded system, and that makes it very important. Then whenever we develop anything on these systems, small devices, so it has to be performance optimal. Actually, performance should be very good, so that there is no loss of time and data. So because these systems are used in some of the, like suppose aircraft also uses embedded systems, or medical devices. So if there is any gap in this or any latency is there, so then you will lose it will not be useful, or it will cause some accidents or so. Can you go to the next slide, ma'am? So I just tried to show what embedded system you use in different places. So every day when you wake up in the morning or have breakfast, you use microwave, alarm system, some home safety system, lifts, printers. So these are all embedded devices which you use in your daily life. Can we move to the next slide, ma'am? So here what I am trying to show you, like what is the need of IoT? Why we need IoT anytime? Why that is very much required? So before IoT also that system was working. It is not like that the system was not working. So how IoT is helping is you have to run machine to, if you are seeing before IoT, this person has to run machine to machine to get the work done. What is done, when it is done, so those have to be decided by the human intervention. But after IoT, all the devices are connected, and you can learn also from each other, and the devices interact with each other. So human intervention is not there. I mean, you are reducing the human intervention here. Can you go to the next slide, ma'am? There is some animation involved, so you have to go 3-4 slides later. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So,
yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
So this shows like why we need IoT. So if you see IoT, any embedded device or any sensors, suppose you have some temperature sensor. So the sensors will give you the data, and that data will be monitored at the dashboard, or some of the administrator is monitoring those data, for example. So you can interact with the device, you can collaborate with the device, and you can share your experience. So it helps you to collaborate the devices, reducing human intervention. So to say in a simple words, it's always connected wherever you are and whichever device. So it is machine to machine connectivity is enabled by IoT. Yeah. So can we go to the next slide? Okay. So one more click you can do, ma'am. Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you see here, so you can say this is a kind of definition which I have covered. So what is Internet of Things? It is a platform where all devices are connected through the internet, and these devices can be a mechanical device, can be a sensor, can be any appliance or any vehicle which you are using. So all comes under the devices which are connected. Now IoT allows devices, you can sense the device, you can check the temperature, you can check the pressure. If it is connected in the car, for example, you can see whether there are a lot of jerks in the car while driving, you can measure the velocity. So different sensors you can use to check the current status at that time in the current vehicle or whichever device you want to monitor. And second thing is you can also control it, like there are actuators. So where you really want to control the device based on some values or threshold values is breached. So there you want to control those devices. So this is where IoT allows in sensing and controlling remotely across existing network infrastructure. And it improves the efficiency. You don't need to do it manually. Third thing is it is basically interact and collaborate. So all devices can be collaborated without human intervention. Can you move to the next slide, ma'am? So it is kind of the machines are in continuous connectivity and they know what to do and when to do. So you have to define certain rules. It is not artificial intelligence will come in the next step. But first step is here, it is not learning by himself, first of all. So when we talk about IoT, we set certain configurations also, settings for threshold. So let us see the characteristics of IoT here. So first is connectivity, which we have talked about, that when you put some sensor devices, so those multiple devices are connected to your system and you can monitor them and you can also control them. So in IoT ecosystem, if you see, there are sensors and there is a computer. I mean, you can compute the data and you have a network. This is complete IoT ecosystem. So it can be connected through different communication protocols. Second would be sensing. So when we say sensing, it is sensing some values, convert in a way you can drive the meaningful business reasons from that. I mean, business objective can be achieved. So that is your sensing. It can be your GPS device, your light sensors, pressure, electrochemical device, RFID. So you have multiple sensors. So also, if you see that automotive, if you say autonomous cars, so there are a lot of sensors which we are using to making it successful. So automotive is the area where we have lot of scope nowadays to make it IoT plus artificial intelligence enabled edge computing is a big thing, which we will talk about it later in the later phase. Intelligence, if you see intelligence, so right now in IoT, we define a rule engine. We set certain configurations with the threshold values. And whenever any device gets connected, so based on those threshold values, suppose you need the temperature should not exceed for this place to more than 20 degrees. So as soon as the temperature exceeds, it will, so it will raise an alert. So the person who is monitoring these devices, he will see the alert. And that is where we are saying this is intelligent. And when it is combined with machine learning and artificial intelligence, the system can learn from the behavior, and then it can act upon it. Next, we can say scale. So when we scale, it is very important when you design any IoT system, it should be scalable. So when we say scalable, it should be able to scale up. Suppose currently you have some devices having one protocol enabled, for example, BLE, Bluetooth. So, but there can be some more devices which you want to add, could be based on Zigbee protocol or some other. So your design should be like that your device, your system is scalable. You should be able to add more devices as a plugin type. Your design should be modular, your structure should be layered, and so that your system works and it can be scaled. So as it is very dynamic in this time, it is very dynamic and technology is changing very fast. So we cannot design a system every time multiple times. So this is the way it should be scalable. Next, energy efficient. So energy is very important. See, when you use this IoT in agriculture, for example, so it becomes very important that you have a good battery life. You cannot install the devices, changing the batteries. That will be additional cost. So the batteries, energy saving is a primary thing. It is very important for IoT system to conserve the energy. So energy should be considered while designing the system. Security, yes, a lot of data we are sending from the device to the cloud. So when we send this data, security and privacy are the most important and critical things, right? So you cannot play with this data. So it has to be very secure. So you have to enable on the edge side also, there has to be security policies enabled, there has to be security system. And when the data flows in the network, so that data also should be secure, like HTTPS communication protocol you use. So it has to be secure. There can be some kind of encryption you are using. So security has to be considered. Complex system. So complex system in terms of, because it is collecting the data, converting to the data and sending to the cloud. So it becomes complex as there are multiple layers. Layers are there. Like let's talk in the next slide. So that will give you more idea. Let us go to the next slide. Okay. So here, if you see this slide, so when we see IoT is Internet of Things. So what are things? Things here are like we have sensors, we have a lot of actuators, devices. So these sensors are in either in car or they are in some emergency vehicles or police with the police stations, or they are in warehouses. So depending on your business case, these sensors are in your devices. So these sensors, when we talk about sensors, so this is our things, this is our part which we are trying to monitor and control. So next comes the gateway part, gateway or your network router. It can be a router also. So this gateway enables us to, whatever data is received from these sensors, which will go to the gateway, and gateway will do certain kind of computing required, or if it is a simple router, it will just flow the data. But router may not support both the protocols. Suppose in the sensor side you have Zigbee communication protocol, but on the gateway side to cloud is Wi-Fi. So you have to do certain amount of logic there to implement. You have to implement the gateway application, and that will send the data on the network. And now we will come to the cloud platform. So if you see this gateway and cloud platform part, it is kind of a hardware and software integration. So we are trying to, whatever data we have received from these sensors, we are trying to send this data to the cloud platform. So cloud can be like, you must have heard multiple cloud platforms. There is AWS, Azure, Bluemix, IBM Bluemix, or ThinkWorks. So multiple cloud platforms. So this network plays very important role. This communication has should be designed. This is very important and critical part in IoT. So messaging, which messaging you will use. So next comes when we reach to the cloud platform, and then we come to the front end application. Suppose I consider that I want to control the temperature of the device. So here, when I see my front end application, I can see this is the temperature, and if I see the temperature, I want to go and switch some. I want to give some command to, so that actuator acts. So we will give the request from here, and it will go to the actuator, which is in the things side, and you can see that that command will work and actuator will perform accordingly. I mean, based on your request. So can you go to the next slide, ma'am? So you can click one by one. You can just make one click.
Okay, so should I go to the next slide?
You have to just make one click. There is some animation.
Okay, okay.
One more click. Okay.
One
So
more
we
click.
have divided it, like suppose now we see the part between things and local network. Okay, that is a gateway. So this you will say as a device to device communication or machine to machine communication. Okay. So you can imagine that you have a lot of BLE. If you see now medical devices, lot of medical devices have Bluetooth enabled. They have BLE. There are a lot of devices which has Zigbee protocol, so which are used in commercial systems mostly. There are multiple protocols. So between things, between your sensors or actuators, so there is, and the gateway, there is a communication protocol. So this we will divide it as device to device communication. So here your gateway should have the sensor agent which can understand the sensor, the signals which are received from the sensor. Suppose you have received the temperature information, you have received the pressure information or tilt or any medical system. Suppose you are measuring the Bluetooth, you are using the blood pressure. The blood pressure is a BLE device. So you can receive the blood pressure data. So you have to implement an agent which should understand that protocol of that particular device. So there will be a sensor agent on the gateway. Okay. Can you click one more time, ma'am?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, one more time. So second part when we say is device to server communication. So this also plays an important role because here now from the gateway, which is your device, which is passing through the sensor data from sensors to the cloud platform. So here you have to have the communication defined. What will be your messaging protocol? So you have to design your messages. So when I say design your messages, it should be compatible with what messages you are receiving on the cloud platform and how to understand that. So if you had heard about these protocols, some of them, so HTTP is the normal protocol which you use in the web applications also. So here HTTPS we should say, HTTPS secure network, or we can say COAF, which is a constraint system. So that protocol which we use for some of the smart homes, we use COP protocol. MQTT is a publish subscribe model. So this will help us so we have to design our system based on these protocols. So we have to decide which protocol to use for this communication. Okay, can we go to the next? One more click.
Yeah.
So then you will say server to server communication. So when you see this cloud platform, so message has reached to the cloud platform. So it might have reached on HTTP, that is a TCP/IP based communication protocol. So when the HTTP message received at cloud platform, now you will process that to show on your devices or monitoring application or mobile devices. So I'll take one example. Can you go to the next slide, ma'am? Then just click once more. Okay, so here you can see that you can use these are some of the technologies I have mentioned. So let's see this architecture diagram first to better understand it. Okay, so if you see the bottom one, so I have put some of the sensors, suppose healthcare devices, like I said, you can have the weight scale device, or you can have the blood pressure machine, or you can have certain people having chronic diseases, so those devices. And you can have some sensors which can be used for your logistics systems, and then you have the wearable devices which are used, suppose in the mines you are using those devices. So these also have some sensors. So when I say mines, you are using might be location of the miner, and you may have certain SOS facility on that there is some emergency to the user. There can be some mic facility to list so that somebody can inform him that some blast is going to happen. So now we will go the gateway stage. So if you see the gateway stage, I have broken into multiple parts. So there can be a sensor agent. So sensor agent is which understands the sensor language. So when I say communication, so suppose you are using BLE, so you should have some BLUES library or some library you have to use, and you have to interpret that data, understand that data, and based on your understanding, then you will create a message. So when I say, suppose you are using HTTP, so you will create the message. Suppose cloud connector, I have shown something. So which is creator of this message, which will be sent to your cloud. So if you see, there are multiple modules in the gateway application. So like GSM services, GPS modules, store and forward. So if you understand it correctly, GSM is your Wi-Fi, or you have to be, your network should be enabled. You have the GPS location services. When I say store and forward, when you are offline, suppose your device is offline, so it cannot send the data. So at that time, it should not lose that information which we have taken. So then we will store and forward later on whenever it comes online. Diagnostic is very important because these devices can go bad in the field. They may not work in some time. So we need to remotely see what is the stage of the device, what is the problem, how we can solve it. And there is a MQTT broker. So it depends on if you are using MQTT communication protocols, you have to have MQTT broker here. You can have a small database also, a light database. So SQLite can be used. So this is a proposed design I have just put, but this can be different in different scenarios. So then you will have the service layer. Then you will see cloud platform. So on the cloud platform, you will design your REST APIs. So you have the device management, which is the important part, all the devices which are connected on this network. You have a data aggregation part, you have business workflows. So you will create the service layer REST APIs, and these REST APIs will help you in showing the data on the front-end application. So front-end application you can develop in Angular or Node. So some of the Angular you can use there. You can use JavaScripts. In REST APIs, you can use Node.js and all also here. So these REST APIs will be consumed by front-end application to show the data received from the sensor. So I hope it gives some clarity to you on how the structure looks like. So can we go to the, and here important thing is we have, can you go back there, ma'am? So here you will see there is a NoSQL database and SQL. So if you understand it very rightly, so SQL is a structured database. So where you will have the structured information. When I say structured, like suppose there is a user management. So user management is a structured information which you would like to have stored. Or suppose you have the device management. So those information. But the device sensor data, you will not put in the SQL because it will be huge data. Sensor is giving data every minute, every second. So that will be stored as part of NoSQL database. It could be MongoDB. So there are multiple NoSQL database we have. So both database will be used for storing the data. So, ma'am, just stop me in case I am going very fast. Just let me know.
No, it's okay. Only thing is there are many students who are from life sciences, and essentially they are not from computers or electronics. So in between, if you can say something about like be a bit less technical, and so it will be
okay
to them also.
Okay, sure.
Thank
so
you.
I hope these layers are very clear. See, these are the show you the IoT ecosystem. So when I say ecosystem, so if you sensor side, you can think of connected car. You can think you have a car which is connected and you want to get its position, you want to see the behavior of the driver, you want to see the velocity. So you can consider sensor devices, you can have a connected car. There can be a gateway application. So there is an edge device. So there will be a lot of processing happening in the car itself. The hardware will be there, which is supporting these functionality. And then you come to the cloud platform where you will consume these data and then show to the administrator. So I will cover some of the applications of IoT, which will give you the clear idea. So let us see them and then we can come back here in case of any questions.
Should we go to the next slide now?
Yeah. Okay. So if you have seen the real world, there are a lot of, even if you have seen the smart lighting, it is just a simple example in your offices or at your college or somewhere. So whenever the sunlight is, room has sufficient lights. So they don't need light to be on. So there is a smart lighting system. There are sensors which can detect, and based on that, your lights will be switched on or off if nobody is sitting. So occupancy related, there are a lot of sensors which gives you information. There are a lot of sensors which gives you whenever you enter the premises for security or you go out of the premises. So those sensors detect how many people entered this place or how many people left. So these are some of the applications which are there in everyday life. So I have tried to cover few of them. So IoT in transport, IoT in agriculture, IoT in healthcare, everyday life, it is there in mining industry, disaster management. So some of the samples I have covered. So let us see them, and yeah, can you go to the next
Should I go
slide?
to next?
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So what problems? So if you see the left side boxes, we are trying to say what problems we have tried to solve by this solution. So we can say shipments get damaged or delayed. So whenever logistics, you understand, it is a kind of asset management solution, or you can say whenever you get a lot of online orders. Okay, so you order something. Suppose it has to come from one warehouse to second warehouse, and there are a lot of valuable products also, perishable products, which you want they should reach you safely. But to get them safe, somebody has to monitor, because a lot of things happen in between due to the people oversight, due to people not reaching on time. They are just sitting somewhere, or they are going to wrong location. So if you see, shipments get delayed, perishable valuable products not reaching on time, cargoes claimed due to, so there is theft in transportation, many valuable products get damaged. So if you see how IoT comes here in the picture, so you will have suppose your goods are starting from one warehouse to another warehouse. So there are a lot of sensors which we want the devices or packets to be monitored for them. For example, you have perishable things which get spoiled very fast. So those to be maintained with the temperature, right? They should not be in very hot place. They should be in the cold zone. Then you have some of the items which you need, moisture should not be there, or somebody should not keep pressure on it so that it doesn't get spoiled. So there are multiple sensors you can put based on your business need. And Zigbee is one of the communication protocol which is getting used here. Okay, so this when you say communication protocol, so it can be any protocol. I mean, the way the device communicates with your system. So these sensors will give you the data wherever they are located. So suppose truck is moving from Delhi to Bangalore. So it starts. So we will switch on these devices, and it will be on each packet. So if you have 1,000 packets, there will be different tags on those packets which will detect these values. Then the data will go to the gateway, and this data in turn will reach to the cloud platform, and then we can monitor these shipments. So there is also in the truck driver seat also, he can monitor these values, the temperature, pressure, tilt, or theft, somebody has pulled from the back. So those things he can also monitor, but somebody at the sitting in the warehouse, or somebody sitting in the, who is the admin or who is the owner of this transport, he can monitor this shipment, he can locate it where it. So this application on your front end application will show you the GPS location of that device. It will show the shipment route, which route he has taken. So you will be able to manage all this. So how it will help? It will help supply chain visibility, intelligent asset tracking. So you'll be able to track your assets, sensitive goods integrity, nobody can spoil. And suppose something gets spoiled, so you can see that data in your system. You will have all the historical data, like from Delhi to Bangalore in 36 hours, 40 hours, what all things are, I mean, when you, what all things have happened. Have we got good, have driver taken care of certain factors? Is it not taken care? Why the things are spoiled? So you have all the, and even you can inform the drivers if temperature goes low and that thing requires higher temperature. Okay. And data analytics you can do. Insurance company can also use this data for claims if somebody claims. Can you go to the next slide, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can see one more example I tried to take. Suppose there are a lot of accidents happen in the road, and when accident occur, you need some emergency at the location. So, or driver behavior also. Sometimes you want to monitor if it is a cab and all that. So you want to see, you want to save the accidents. Also, you want to monitor the behavior of the driver. So what you need some certain sensors. Suppose alcohol detection also you need if he's drunk and driving, and you need the velocity sensor. So you need certain intrusion sensors. So you need certain sensors in the car which can detect these things. And there has to be a sensor when it gets a lot of jerk, when the accident happen or some clash happens. So also in this cloud, we have stored the information of that area, local police, emergency, ambulances. So that information and GPS location is also getting published on the cloud. So whenever any accident happen, so how it will happen, what will happen whenever accidents happen, the data will go to the cloud and there will be alert raised that some accident happened in this car. Okay. And then there will be, because they have the GPS location of the police vehicle or emergency ambulance, so they will inform the nearby ambulance and the police through this system, which is monitored by someone, which is administrated by someone. And as soon as accident happen, that police and emergency vehicle will reach and that they can save lives. So this will help in accident rescue. So here IoT, this way we are using. So you can say output is driver behavior you can monitor. You can monitor the alerts whenever accident happens. You can also monitor fuel consumptions, optimization logic also. You can do this route you should take, this route you should take. So emergency service enablement. So this is one more use case. Let's go next, ma'am. So now you will see what is on agriculture, how you are using the IoT. So if you know, a lot of farmers, I mean, they need to know when they have to put manure, when they have to put water, what is the pH value. So a lot of things you have to know about the soil whenever you want to do, so whenever you are planting some of the things. So you will, it will be very good if you get that information upfront. Somebody tells you if you want to plant rice, for example, in this farm. So these are the things which is learned by the system, and they can tell you these are the threshold or this is how you have to work. So how the system will work is you have sensors in the soil itself. So these are water resistant sensors and they have the good battery life also, like, because battery is important. You cannot remove sensor every 6 months or 3 months. So you have to have some good batteries. So you will have the sensors inside the soil and there is a gateway which will take this data. I mean, what is the humidity level? What is the pH value or whatever soil parameters this gateway will check, and based on that parameters it will send to the cloud. And the person who is suppose agriculture doctor, for example, he knows when to do what. So he will say that a lot of water is there. So suppose it happened, rain happened like yesterday only. So based on the threshold values which you set, so you have to set the threshold values. Suppose based on your climatic condition, based on your plantation, what type of plantation, you have to set certain rules. So IoT is about setting the rules. So you have to set those rules, and based on those threshold values, this system can tell you you are good or you have some problem or there is some alert. So it will raise alert based on your definition of rules. And defining rules manually is now changing to this learned system, artificial intelligence. The machine is learning on itself and then it is taking that. So what you will get, precision farming, you can get smart irrigation, you have smart greenhouse also. So greenhouse also you can control the sensors, you can create that and reduce the overall cost of training the labor and telling them what is to be done now and then. So it will improve your system productivity and efficiency. Maybe initial cost would be there, but later on and the long run, it will help you. Can we go next?
Yeah, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be knowing this stubble burning is a very important issue that is faced by the Haryana government. A lot of stubble burning causes a lot of pollution also in Delhi and haze and etc.
Yes.
So can this be one of the solutions, IoT based, knowing where the stubble is being burned and taking action through IoT? Is it one of the solutions for that?
See, one thing is there are two aspects to it. One is how we can stop this burning. So these farmers have to be given some mechanism to do that activity without burning. That is the first thing. But to answer your second question, like if you want to see where all it is happening and how the person or administrator or police can be informed that this is happening, so you can have sensors there. So burning will have, so your sensors should detect the temperature when it goes high. So whatever things you want to monitor, so sensor will help. Suppose there is a forest. I'll take one more example. So when you say disaster management, so in forest, a lot of fires happen. I mean, it happen anytime. Naturally, also a lot of fire happen in the forest. So if you have sensors in multiple places, and they can detect that fire has happened because temperature will go up, and you will get all the information through your sensors, then you will get an alarm. So there is an alert mechanism based on your threshold. You will get an alarm, and based on that, you will take an action. So somebody will be informed that there is a fire. He will go and do whatever has to be done, or he will send the fire brigade. So those things can be done, yes. But how to stop that paddy burning? So paddy burning, there has to be some technique mechanism to do that activity. Yeah.
So should I go further?
Yeah. So one more example I have taken. I can skip also if required. So here, if you see this greenhouses, a lot of greenhouses we keep for, and the main concept of greenhouse is controlling the climate based on your needs. I mean, you are controlling the things inside the greenhouse based on your whatever plantation and all. So this IoT solution helps you in doing that. So if you see here, you have certain sensors and actuators in your greenhouse, and you have some switch gears also, which you can ask them to start. So when you give the command, they can start automatically. So what will happen here? You have the sunlight, how much sunlight is coming. You have the watering irrigation thing. You have some switch gears. So what will happen here is you have the sensors. Sensors will give the data. So whenever the system will be monitored by someone, he will receive the data. And if there is an alert, it can be automated also. So when you receive the alert, and based on the alert, you want to send a command that alert has happened and they need more water, for example, or they need to run this fan, or they have to have more light. So they will give a command, and these actuators will be turned on. And when they will turn on, they will do their function. I mean, they can be on and off based on the current conditions. So sensors will help to know the current condition, and you will be able, and remote control or some smartphone if you have, you can remotely ask those devices to run because that conditions is not appropriate and it has reached the threshold. So this will help you. Okay, can we go to the next?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, now we will see how IoT is important in healthcare. So healthcare, now you will see that a lot of times we have a lot of old patients who are suffering from chronic diseases. We have a lot of hospitals, a lot of beds are there where people are there to be checked every now and then, and some specific parameters to be checked every hour maybe, or if he is old man, he fell down. So somebody should know he has fell down, and he should get some information so that he can help them in emergency. So this IoT will help. So now when you see the manual system, you don't have any real-time data. You cannot maintain the health record. You have to maintain the health record manually. Doctor visit becomes essential. Inaccurate standard analytics we don't have. No historical data, history of that person. If you have to see all the books or prescriptions which are given earlier. So can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay. So when you go here, you will see these are the certain devices. So these are the devices, like these are healthcare devices. These are also, so they are working on different protocols. So it is not necessary that all the devices has to be in BLE or using the Z-Wave or using Zigbee. So there can be different devices. Even you will see, you will open the door and there can be some sensors which will help you in opening the door remotely. So if he is a patient, he wants to request to open the door and all that. So there are multiple sensors. So I will give one use case. Suppose one patient is there whose blood pressure or sugar has to be monitored at some periodic time. So he will measure his blood pressure, or nurse will measure his blood pressure, and as soon as nurse will measure the blood pressure, it will go on the cloud. So this is a connected system. So this is a lot of devices come now with the BLE enabled or Z-Wave enabled. So these are already there in the devices currently. So you will get that data on the gateway, and then it will reach to the cloud, and the doctors and nurses sitting there will be able to check the patient. I mean, he will see whether it is within the limits or there is some problem. Can I prescribe some medicine for him? So this can be a system which will help him raising the alert in case of emergency. It provides real-time data. Even as I said, the patient falls down. So if he falls down, there is a sensor which can detect he's fallen down. So that will raise an alarm, and the nurse can come and run and come and check her. So all these things can be done automated. This can be in the hospital, inside the hospital, or it can be in the home also. And it enables the analytics. Yeah. Can we go to the next? Yeah. So this we can skip, I think, a lot of. So mines also, it is a similar scenario. So suppose in the mines, this mine people wear helmets. So if you see, the helmet can be used with the GPS device on the top. You can have the communication devices, the speaker and the mic, and you can have different type of sensors. So you can locate location tracking can be there, his status. And if you see, a lot of roll calls also you do in the mines. So this roll call activity take a lot of time in checking whether when there is any blast, to inform people and whether they have moved out of that area or not. So those things are done manually and it takes a lot of time. So this system will help them in locating them. First thing is you have the location. And whenever you have any blast in certain location, you can alert the miners, you can alert the people that there is a blast, and they will be able to go out from there. If he's still not gone, so somebody who is monitoring, supervisor, can see that he's not there, I mean, moved out of it. So he can again raise an alert or tell him on the, I mean, through speaker or announcement mechanism that he has to move. And he has the SOS facilities. The emergency, he can call the people and to go out. Yeah. We can go to the next slide. So as we talked, so these are some of the applications I covered. So it must have given you good idea that how we can apply IoT in different systems. So it can be your homes, it can be buildings, it can be city also. So everywhere you can apply it. So, but there are certain challenges. So as we talked about it earlier also, security. Yes, it is a lot of data which can be some personal data also, like hospital data. It is a personal data of patients. So you have a lot of data. So privacy comes there into picture. Security, that data should not be lost, should not be hacked by someone. So there we say security plays an important role. Interoperability. So when this data goes from device to cloud, so all these stages, there has to be, we have to take care of interoperability. When these devices are in field, so you want to upgrade the firmware of these devices. Suppose you want to update certain software or certain features on those devices. So over the air upgrades has to be there. Now, if you see this huge data volume, so these databases on the cloud system has huge data. Even if you have one sensor, so it will have 1 terabyte data for one person. Suppose you have a sensor at multiple homes in a building also. So it is a huge data which is going to the cloud. So this is also becoming a challenge. Then you have a real-time actions. So like I said, this aircraft systems, so they need a lot of latency cannot be there, because then there will be accidents. So there has to be real-time data. The performance should be very good. You cannot take more time to reach the data and take the action. So action has to be within milliseconds or within seconds. Yeah. And it is complex event processing, because we have multiple layers, multiple network in between communications. So that makes the system complex. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So some of the things, like right now, how it happens when you get the data from these devices, and these devices sends the data to your gateway and then goes to cloud, and cloud process it, and then it is shown to the front-end applications. So with edge computing, we are trying to get the computing done. So if you say there is a cloud computing and there is edge computing. So cloud computing also, you are computing all the data on the cloud. But this data cloud is not near to your user, near to your system. So how edge computing helps? Edge computing helps you in getting this data near to your system, near to your user, so that that latency can be reduced. The data can be reached in real time, and you can compute that data. And also you must be sending a lot of raw data. So with edge computing, you can compute the data, and whichever is necessary, you can send that data. And nowadays nowadays this a lot of processing, now they are starting this edge computing along with ML and AI. There are a lot of, Amazon is working on certain solutions which are coming. So these edge devices may not take, that is, doing the everything computing on the edge device. So there are a lot of solutions coming now to do that, because it is a necessity of the time and the business requirement that should to reduce the latency. Yeah, so get the data in real time. Yeah, you can go next.
Next.
Yeah. So this, I just tried to show you some of the development life cycle, how it goes when you go to the IoT development or any kind of development when you go about it. So how you do it, suppose you have a lot of hardware part and software integration when you develop this solution. So if you see here, you have the specification in place, but till that time hardware is also not designed and your software is also in progress. So your hardware and software design path takes lot, it plays an important role, and lot of communication between the teams, is required when you do this kind of development. So if you see here, there are two paths which go in parallel. So when you say when I say hardware, it can be sensors, it can be gateway application, the software which you are developing on the gateway. So gateway is also part of hardware which you are getting developed. Maybe you are adding the features to it, you are developing the sensor agent to talk to sensors. So all the hardware design path also goes parallelly with the software design. Okay. And this plays an important critical part in this IoT embedded development lifecycle. Can you click once?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you see this integration, so integration plays very important role. So when you actually design your hardware, software, you do all the development. Now when you try to integrate both the hardware in between also, so you will see a lot of time goes in this integration part, because both should be interoperable. Your messaging should be correct, whatever message you are trying to send from the device to the gateway, so and gateway to cloud. So all that should be compatible. Whatever messaging sequence, so is it right? Have you incorporated all the protocols, all the details? So integration will plays an important role, and it is challenging also, which we normally face when we develop it. Can you click once more? Yeah. Okay, and then in IoT cycle, you have to have this field trial. So when I say field trials, whenever any IoT system you develop, so you need to do the real-time data. You cannot say in office or in I have developed my software, and this software has to be trialed in the field, because a lot of, like suppose GPS location, you need to check. You need to check the connectivity. Is your network, if your network is in bad condition, is your software working well? Is it able to offline store the data? So these are some of the challenges. Can you click once more? So, and embedded system, lot of time to market is very slow. You must have seen these things change regularly. With time, you have a lot of technologies coming in picture. So if you don't deliver the solution within the time frame, then the time goes. Nobody will use your solution, because now new technology has come, new communication technologies have come. So based on that, nobody will buy your solution. So you have to design the solutions within this time frame. Otherwise, it will be not used. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Okay. So I have tried to cover some of the key rules for developing such softwares, or whenever you are doing some developments. So mostly I have covered on the embedded side, but still I would like to talk about it. So first thing is communication, which I told in multiple times. So whenever you design your communication, so you have to decide what type of protocol, what type of device type, proximity. When I see proximity, so when you said this BLE device, their range is very small. Zigbee range is very small. You cannot say that if I have a use case which require a lot of, it is distance, at a distance, it won't work for you. Okay, so whenever you are considering your device types, you have to know what is your proximity, where you are going to keep those devices, how far it will be from your gateway, how far, or it has Wi-Fi enabled, so it will directly communicate with your cloud. So those things you have to consider. Second part is sensor to gateway communication protocol. So so this design is very important. Then lightweight messaging protocol between device to server. So you remember we defined three parts. One is device to device, device to server, and server to server. So whenever one is sensor to gateway, then gateway to cloud. So that part also, your message should be lightweight. It should not be very heavy protocol which you are using, and then it will take, the performance will be, you will not be able to see the real-time actions. Now, whenever you decide some messaging, you need to have some parser, communication messages. So those things has to be defined. Any new messages you want to add in the future, I mean, you have designed the system. Now, there are some more things you need on the cloud. So that should be pluggable. Your design should be such that it should be pluggable. Now, hardware and software development as it is going parallelly. So you should review it, and I mean, this is just a development theory that this is very important. When we work in office, it becomes very important that we do this at the time of development, and we have clear details. So also, I just missed to mention there the gateways which we use there. I just saw somebody ask question also. So the gateway which we used, so they can be open source. There are a lot of open source. If you see Intel gateways, we have Galileo, we have Edison, we have Raspberry Pi. Those gateways we can use for this development, I mean, gateway application. So there are certain open source. There are Dell gateway also. Broadcom chipset is available. So a lot of Arduino, if you have heard Arduino, you might be using in your colleges also. Galileo, Raspberry Pi, Edison's. So these gateways you can use, and based on your requirement, yeah. And lifelines. When I say lifelines, so these are some of the lifelines of embedded development as well as IoT. So I will not say it is only for IoT, embedded also. So memory optimization. So memory plays very important role because your device is very small. It cannot keep a lot of memory. So you need to see how you can optimize your data, how you can design your system, having your data types definition and all that. You have to take care while defining your software. Okay. Now your device goes offline when there is no network. So some technique to enable the store and forward. Like I said, when it is offline, it has to store the data, and then you have to define how, at what interval it will send the data to cloud. Then data should be secured and keep it. Security policy. If you see a lot of gateways, even by Intel, they are giving the software security solution on the gateways. So there has to be security policy enabled on this edge side as well as on the cloud side. So security has to be there. Logging and instrumentation. So I hope you understand what is instrumentation. So whenever you work with these devices or whichever software you are working, so you have to monitor them, that they are not failing in the field. You have to have the logs remotely. You have to see whether the system is working as it should work. So those logs will help you, and to fix the problem also. When it is in problem, you can monitor them. So remote logging is very important. Over the air upgrade, as I said, so how you will upgrade the firmware. And as there is parallel development, you should know how to develop the simulators for, you may not get hardware on the day one for every feature which you are developing. So you should know how to develop the simulators. Field trials, as I said, so to check the network connectivity, GPS. So GPS when you work on the software, you work only with the simulator. You just develop a script and put the locations. But in actuals, you have to see whether GPS is working, and real-time data, it is updating or not. You are able to see the locations. You are able to see the network devices on connected or not. So those things plays an important role in this system. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. So this is combination. No, that one only. So it is repeated because I just wanted to take one example with artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence we are not covering here. So I am taking the same example. How is, like if you see here, you have the data from the sensors which you have put in the soil, and now you have the gateway which is sending it the data on the cloud. Now this data, you should have some analytics. You should know, you should learn from your behavior. So when, suppose you, whenever you plant the paddy or you are planting some, based on your plantation, you water this much, you put manure this much, this time, that way. So all that learnings, whatever, and real-time sensor data which you are getting, there is a machine learning, if you have heard about it. So that machine will learn from your activities, from your behavior, and it will train the model. And based on your model, and this model will keep on evolving. This is not the day, one day it will do. So it will train the model, and based on your model, your thresholds will be defined. So how it differs, I will tell you. Like in IoT, you define the configurations. You say, this is my threshold values. Based on that, your system works. But those threshold values, somebody has to go and define. So when you have AI integrated with this IoT solution, so your model will be trained on day-by-day basis, and it will keep on learning in the real time. And then it will raise the alert based on your learnings. So this ML will help you in getting the learnings, and this threshold configuration will be derived from learnings, and there will be predictive maintenance. You will not do reactive. You will not be reactive actions. It will be predictive. Like you have seen some of the applications that you were reacting to the situation. Suppose there is a fire, you will get an alert. There is an accident, you get something. So this will help you in predictability also, for better. Like suppose if we have to do this plantation, how it will help. So these are the things which will be better. These are the things which will be not good for our plantation. So that learning, so anomaly detection, forecasting. So this AI models will help you. Machine learning will help you in getting the intelligence in the system. So nowadays it is a term, artificial intelligence of Internet of Things. So AIoT, you can tell that as a platform. Yeah. So you can go next. I think just go to the next slide. Okay. So it is trying to say that if you design your, that's all. So if you design your system well, you code your system well, so it is a customer delight. Customer would be happy to see that system. So that is how it works. Yeah.
Queries. I'll stop presenting now. Yeah.
Yeah, you can stop presenting.
Yeah.
So that's all from my side. Time to go with the questions. Yeah.
Time for questions. So, Dr. Srinath, could you please take the queries and?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I will moderate. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the such an informative session. Thanks a lot. And I would like to take the question and answers. So the first question is from.
Can I see the questions also?
Yeah. So first question is from Rajat Bansal. So which protocol is most secure and efficient?
So which protocol on which side? I mean, you wanted to ask on the, I mean, device to server, server to server, which side you want to ask? So
Rajat,
if
are you there?
Answer your question, so see, it is nothing to be defined like this. So I can say it is, see, when you say HTTP, if you are talking about from device to server, so HTTPS is the secure HTTP which you are using, but it is kind of heavy protocol. But yes, in some of the cases we go with that protocol. But we, as I mentioned earlier, we also use some of, like MQTT is publish subscribe model. So it depends on your use case. And like if I said COAP, it is IPv6 based. So it is along with 6LoWPAN. So it is designed for machine-to-machine applications such as smart building automation and all that. You can go for COAP model. So it depends on your use case. So HTTPS security, if you are enabling a secure network, it is good. COAP you can use for smart building and automation, and it is lightweight also because it is UDP based. MQTT is for publish and subscribe. So if you understand, if you want to have few topics which you can subscribe for it. So whenever it happens, suppose you are saying, I want to subscribe for alerts. So whenever some alert happens, that system will give you the alerts. So it depends on your use case, but you can go for these protocols. LoRa also you can use. These are some of the protocols based on your use cases. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Veena. Rapid growth in technology has caused limited understanding of IoT, and there is a lack of confidence using IoT among people. They say it will impact on employment. How IoT will overcome these problems?
That is somewhat true also, because when your system gets automated too much, so the number of people required would be less, and there is a lot of cost also. I will not say the IoT is cost driven thing. So mostly the systems where you will put IoT is which really saves. So you have to go there with that calculation. But answer is yes, that it may impact the jobs, it may impact the people, but people are required to do some development, do some these learnings. So there will be impact, but it will not be. It will become a part of life. So it will be kind of part of life when you go with solutions. But yes, I agree to your point. But you will not do for everything. See, in India, a lot of different type of people stay. So in India, maybe you will do for some system. Suppose you go to the mall or shopping mall, you can do some IoTs, which they can enable easily. So where they can reduce some of the employment. But yes, it can happen. It depends on your use case, how much value you will get in implementing these systems. But it is very useful for real-time systems. See, when I say, suppose the aircraft is a system which is used for so many people traveling through it. So you want their lives to be saved. You want the system to be automated in case any problem. So those systems, yes, you will surely enable, and it will be cost effective also. So farming also, if you say bigger farms, a lot of problems happen, a lot of things get spoiled also. That cost you don't calculate. So if you calculate all that cost, this will be effective solution. Yeah.
May I add, Rajni, to this? Yeah. So Veena has asked this question, but I'll beg to disagree with Veena, because what happens whenever a new technology comes, some of the jobs of old technology may become redundant, but some other jobs are created. So always the balance is there, because when when buses came and cycles came, we thought that bullock carts will be redundant. But what happens is that there is a transition. So employment, the type of employment changes. So one has to adopt to those employment, because I think IoT is generating a lot of employment as far as edge computing is concerned, cloud computing is concerned, machine learning is concerned, sensors are concerned. Only thing is we have to be ready. We have to be ready to adapt to those employment opportunities. Yeah.
So slowly it will become part of our lives also, when it will show the results, like a lot of learnings and all that. Yeah. Okay, what is the next question?
Thank you. Our next question is from Satendra Singh. So it's a comparison between IPv4 and IPv6. As IPv4 is widely used in IoT, then it will be affected by IPv6?
No, IPv6 is used with some of the protocols, so it is not like that. But so based on the protocols which we are using, it will be used. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is from Amit Fokat. So her question is, can we use IoT?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, ma'am?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So the next question is from Amit Fogat. So her question is on, can we use IoT system in polyhouse agriculture?
In? Sorry? Your voice?
Polyhouse agriculture.
Yes, we can use. See, wherever you need to monitor anything, or you want to control your system based on the values, you can use the IoT system.
Okay, thank you. So next question is from Rajat. I think this is an interesting question. Do you provide any platform for learning advanced IoT projects?
So there are a lot of platforms. So when you say platform, so are you asking, is there any platforms available in the market which we can use? Or what is the question all about exactly?
So basically, I think...
yeah.
So I feel this question is for like these Accenture people. Do you provide any platform for learning the advanced? Not for the external. I think for he's directly asking about your
I can help.
organization whether.
So
Yes.
I can help. You can connect with me, and I can tell you the
Great.
applications which I have shown. Mostly, many of them I have also worked on them. So I can help you with your questions. You
Great.
can send me email. I will share my personal email, and you can ask those questions. I can help you. Yeah.
The next question is from Mridula Mittal. Is it possible to increase the range of ESP8266 Wi-Fi module for long-range communication? Which protocol should I use it?
Can you repeat the question? I cannot see these questions in the window. Okay, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, is it possible to increase the range of ESP8266 Wi-Fi module? So, our next question is for long-range communication, which protocol should I use it?
When you say long-range communication, it is so. See, there is specifications for all the protocols which you use. When I say really, it can go for certain meters. When you say Zigbee, it will also be. It has certain range. So based on your requirement only, you can choose these protocols, and all the communication protocol specification you can get on the site. I can share the link also, which you should refer for confirming on this. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is from Ankita. What is the difference between the sensor network and IoT, and which are the top IoTs that you?
Your voice is breaking. I am not able to hear you.
Should I read out the question?
Yes, that is better. Yeah, that is why I am losing the question also.
Yeah. I think so. I'll be ignoring few of the questions. I'm sorry, students, because few of the questions are very elementary in nature, and that you can read on Google itself. So Ankita has asked which are the top IoT companies.
So, see the platform. If you are asking for the development platform, see Intel is the main company which works on a lot of gateways, IoT solutions. You have Amazon also working on it. Google is also working. So a lot of companies are involved. But if you are looking for the edge solutions, so Intel, I will say Raspberry Pi, you will see gateway solutions you are getting. So Amazon also come into picture for developing the edge computing. A lot of organizations are coming. So there are a lot of solutions are coming with various companies. Yeah.
So the next question is by Vikram. Vikram, he asks, is smartwatch an example of IoT?
Is smartwatch, see, it is for you, it is I mean, it is giving you data, but it is not performing any action based on the data received, and it is an individual watch for working, but yes, it is connected with your device and all that. Yeah.
So he also asked one more question, that how things, that is sensors, are connected with gateways, through LAN or through WAN?
It is wireless network, yeah. But it can be connected with wired also, but normally you choose for the wireless network. Yeah.
So I'm ignoring Ankita's
question. There is one question I can see. Just scrolled up. Sensor network, and some question was there.
Yeah, I have ignored this because this can be actually, because some of the questions I'm ignoring because these they should find out themselves. So Arduino development board, you can do IoT. Okay, these they were replied actually. So IoT enhances the job market or cuts the job? This has been answered. How do I implement the MIoT? ML or MI? I don't understand that.
ML, machine learning, is he asking?
Machine learning, I think.
Because it is small ML, so I couldn't understand. Small ML.
Yeah, which I talked about. See, right now also, whatever data you are receiving, see, you have received huge amount of data when IoT came into picture. So IoT data, now data has to be consumed, and it has to learn from that particular data which is available already on the systems. So now ML comes into picture for this intelligence. So it will bring the intelligence into the system. Like I said, main thing is rule engine. IoT is of rule engine. So this rule engine works on the learnings. So now as ML will collaborate with IoT, so it will give you the learnings as well as the data. So you are getting both the benefits. Intelligently, you are driving your system and monitoring and controlling. Yeah.
So Rajat has asked one more question, which I've already answered. That please tell us the platforms and sources where we can learn IoT with machine learning. And so Rajat, you have already told that he can send you a mail, and you'll tell him.
Yes.
So yeah, one more question: can we use IoT as a preventive measure in transportation to control traffic and escape from accident? You have answered it actually in your slide itself.
So what is the question?
Can we use IoT as a preventive measure in transportation to control traffic and escape from accident?
Traffic, you can see how traffic you can control. You see a lot of, now it is already there also in some of the places. You have a lot of sensors on the traffic lightning system also, where they can detect that whether heavy traffic is there, the light has to be controlled with red light if it is 1 minute light, but in the morning or in the when there is less traffic, so it controls. So that traffic light, yes, IoT can be added, and it is there in some of the places also. Yeah, it is already there.
So Dr. Ashwini Mittal, who is the part of our team, he is asking, is IoT actually being used in agriculture in India?
I'm not very sure, but in US, some of the farms approached us also for the projects to design their system based on the IoT. But in India, I'm not very sure.
No, they haven't implemented it yet. Yeah.
But so we can go for the system because these sensors are very less costly. I mean, it is not very huge cost, but they have to design that system and see how much is the area and all that. Based on that, we can bill of material, we have to check. Yeah.
So Sunab Garg asks, could IoT be considered effective and reliable, especially in healthcare sector, majorly because of all the ethical issues?
No, healthcare sector becomes very important to have IoT and intelligence. See, if you see, I will not say exactly IoT, but intelligence becomes very important role when you do lot of operations and lot of surgeries, which are doing laser surgeries, and you see lot of knee operations they do without seeing inside. So they need lot of learning power also, that new doctors who do that operation. So analytics and data plays the most important role. But yes, I agree that it should be thorough tested, and it should be checked before applying to any system. So that is the important thing. To check the reliability becomes the primary factor for healthcare system. But basic things we can do. See, I also did some projects. So we can basically for the people who are in hospitals. So hospital doctor will visit every 1 hour or 5 hours. So his visit can be reduced based on that if the data comes on his system only, where he is sitting and checking the patients. So he can at least monitor and see, and this system should be reliable. Obviously, IoT cannot be implemented without testing the reliability and security. So that becomes important, yeah. But it can be done, and we have to maintain the privacy.
Yeah. So next question is maybe many students would like to ask, and that is a very typical of the students to ask this question. So the question is from Alok Gupta, and he says, how much is the job scope in IoT field in India, and what is the way and platforms? So they are asking for the job scope. So scope is always
huge. I think job wise, IoT and AI edge computing is becoming very, it is becoming a very important role and job because a lot of people are going into this, and machine learning and AI also. So now they are designing a system with AI, with edge device, so that it works. So a lot of job scope, no doubt about it. So you should
have skills for that.
Yes. Yeah. Even on the platform side, cloud platform side, and on the embedded side, yes, it is. It is not a requirement. And on ML and AI, but you have to remember, when you go for ML and AI, you have to be very good in algebra. That is required a lot of statistics when you.
Hello. Hello.
Work on intelligence systems. So Your camera is.
Yeah, no, actually my
Can you
headset
hear
is on.
me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, next question is from Dr. Rita ma'am. She asks, ma'am, what kind of assistance can be provided by the industry like Accenture in implementing IoT-based projects?
So are you asking from the academy perspective how Accenture can help academics too?
And academics also, and we are asking from the point of view of the incubation center also, where we will be encouraging the student to come up with the pre-incubation ideas, where they might be having the ideas but they don't know how to implement it.
So Accenture can help here. I think we can help. We run certain programs, but mostly we are running on the campus interviews and after that. But we can see. I can check on it and then let you know. But it can be done. I think it can be done. Yeah.
So do you have any industry academia interaction program where we can take your help and we can do such type of activities?
There are some, but I need to check the list of institutes are there and all that. So you can send an email this specific question and I will just check and come back to you.
Okay. So I'm ignoring Rimpi's question because that is that Rimpi I can answer you later on. So Nisha Bharti has asked, ma'am, are all the apps which we use examples of IoT? So the apps like Arogya Setu app, healthcare app, are they example of IoT?
I have not checked. So sorry, this Arogya Setu app also. So I mean, if you are not able to correlate these healthcare apps, which app you are talking about? So if it is a connected system, you are able to get the data from the, see, main thing here is connectivity, collaborating with the device and controlling those devices. So if these three things are coming, it is
IoT. So Arogya Setu app is doing such things. It is doing such things.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, Harpreet Chima, I am ignoring the question of Harpreet Chima. Next, Professor Anisa Yadav, also the part of our team. She asked, can IoT be used for checking food adulteration?
IoT is, sorry, can you repeat your question?
Can IoT be used for checking food adulteration?
Yes. I think, yes, we can do that, but it is based on the, I think one solution we proposed also in the past, so it can be done, yes.
Okay. So the next is, can IoT be used for preventing terrorist attacks?
Preventing terrorist attack, only in that case, suppose you are monitoring, see, you have to design the system. So when I say terrorist attack, you have to have some sensors which can say somebody has entered this premises or these are the number of people. So those things you have to plan and decide, then you can do it. But you cannot do it, you have to plan how it can be taken. But yes, we can do that.
Yeah. Thanks. So Rekha asked that, is IoT being used in government sector like railways at present in India? For monitoring the temperature of the railway lines?
I am not sure. No, I don't think so. I am not sure.
So, okay. Vishal Seni asked, can IoT be used for predicting accurate weather conditions?
Yes, it can. So it can learn from your system. See, it can learn also, and based on that it can predict your weather conditions. Yes, it can do that.
Thank you. Yeah. So many students have thanked you for this presentation, and we wish to have a more technically advanced presentation from you. So now it is the time to thank you. But before that, may I ask all the PAG members and the incubation consultant, Dr. Srinath, to please switch on your cameras, please. I want the speaker to see our team.
Yeah.
Please, my team members, please switch on your cameras. Dr. Rinda Yadav, Dr. Arin Mittal, Dr. Ashwini, Dr. Rita, Dr. Hardeep Anand. Please switch on your cameras, please. Yeah. So when I take your name, please wave. Okay. So the first thanks goes to obviously you, Miss Rajni Bhandari, for sparing your time and giving such an interesting talk from the students' point of view. And while thanking you, I don't want to miss thanking Sanjay Ahuja, because of whom we got connected to you. So it is very nice of both of you to help us out during this lockdown period. Nothing can be more productive than having an industry person deliver a webinar and give the time. Thank you so much. Now I'll start thanking in the chronological order of age, increasing ages. So the first thanks goes to all the students and the student coordinators who have been here during this lockdown. Thanks students, thanks a lot. Next, the youngest one on our panel is our incubation consultant, Dr. Srinath. So thank you, Dr. Srinath, for always rising up to my expectations, taking tough moments from me when I pressurize you to do the things. And next, I would like to thank Dr. Rita. Dr. Rita, are you there?
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Rita, are you? Yeah, Dr. Rita, Dr. Ashwini Mittal, Dr. Hardeep Anand, Dr. Anil Mittal, and Professor Anil Mittal, Professor Anita Yadav. So these are my team, because of whom I have been able to do this webinar. So thanks a lot to everyone, and ma'am, we'll meet again.
Yeah, sure. So thank you for giving me opportunity, and I think because of this COVID situation, we are connecting remotely. Otherwise, it would be face to face also. So it's really good to do such presentations, and the questions, the way students have asked, I think it's very good to see all those questions, and so I think it's really nice opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. And we are going to invite you once lockdown is over, but we want to have this as a long-term collaboration. We don't want this collaboration to end here, because ma'am, let me tell you very frankly, our students are very motivated, they are very enthusiastic, and I can vouch for them that they will not let you down if you repose confidence in them and you come up with some workshops which are hands-on workshop in IoT.
Yeah, sure. I think you can contact me anytime for anything.
So if any PhD members want to say anything, Dr. Ashwini Mittal, if you want to say something, or Dr. Anita Yadav, or anybody from the PAG, please go ahead.
Dr. Rajni, thank you very much.
So, yeah, Dr. Ashwini Mittal.
No. I just wanted to thanks to Dr. Rekha, of course, madam. Thank you, because of we are here and we are able to connect with Dr. Rajni. And Dr. Rajni, thank you very much. It's really very fantastic, because after artificial intelligence, we came to know about the IoT. Otherwise, we were not familiar about these terms. And these terms are really helping us for the incubation center point of view. Thank you very much, madam. It was really very nice talk.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. And Anurekha ma'am, you can send me like you said, you have data sciences student and all that. So if you can send me those details, I can tell you which topics would be suitable to cover there. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. We'll ask the students, we'll ask for their feedback, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Thanks for your time. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Thanks.